Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a Cloudy Sheep and we are playing Fate of the World, where we're trying to save the world from basically collapse. So we are now in our second turn. As you might remember, the Last of the Summer Ice was just triggered, so things are gonna go... Oops, sorry about that. Things are gonna be a little bit worse. Let's briefly look at the basic stats, and specifically, of course, our emissions. So we have a look over here. So emissions did come down just slightly from last turn, so I'd like to see that. And I think that's largely due to this huge drop from America over here, which I think is because we managed the wildfire growth there quite a little bit. So if you remember well, last turn we saw that there were massive wildfires raging in North America, freeing up a lot of CO2 into the atmosphere. So that has hopefully been dealt with. So what we're going to do now is, you can see that our budget has decreased a little bit. I think we can see that over here. Does it say? It's up a little, up a little. Can we actually see if it's down? No, it looks like our budget is a little bit up, so that's nice to see. We're going to start as usual with our tour of North America, Europe, Japan, Oceania, so the developed world, then go into China and the developing world. So up over here, let's look at the news in North America. We've spent last turn a little bit on anti-drought efforts, basically increasing the water networks and such. That was very helpful apparently, so that is why they like us a little bit more. But you might notice over here that the regional support has actually dropped from 5 to 4 hearts over here. And a large reason for that is the Tobin tax over here, which decreases, which has a negative cost of 100. So it's really contributing to our budget, but it really is a problem, as you can see over here. So yeah, that is costing us quite a bit of support. They're also concerned, which causes them to lose, it says stability, but I think it actually means support, so that is an issue. Also, the increased equatorial temperatures have resulted in the Hadley cell hot air currents pushing further north and south. This has made the climate in North America much drier, so the drought chance over here has increased by quite a bit. On the other hand, commercial and residential energy consumption has grown down quite a bit, so that's nice to see. Tech is booming and we have a smart grids breakthrough. Smart grids I don't think you can see it over here. Smart grids really are very, very helpful. Now, what can we do? I think the transport efficiency investments continue to make sense. The business and household carbon regs continue to make sense. I certainly want to keep up the research program. And with the increasing droughts, we should, I think about further defenses over here. So if you remember well, there are typically 2 lines of defenses. So for example, for the storm over here, we don't have anything. We could build basic defenses, but you know, since drought is the more severe problem, and we've actually played drought. I think you can see over here what we've played. Yeah, so we did complete the basic drought, erosion and wildfire defenses for $10, and we can now do improved ones. We're just going to last another 5 years. It's going to be a little bit more expensive, but again, people like it, and it reduces the severity of wildfires and drought. So yes, I think it makes sense to continue to do this. Now I think with the Tobin tax we might have to cut it, but I'll not do anything right now. I think we have to wait a little bit to see how our budget really looks. So let's take a look over here at Europe. Again, austerity protesters, that's not good. Monsoons, so again more drought over here as well. On the other hand, also over here, this business and household carbon regs are really coming on along well. Storm warning system has worked, so we did establish that and it worked. So that means people love us a little bit more, but still the support dropped, and that is basically again because of the Tobin tax. More drought and wildfire. Right, so definitively something that we do need to do is increase the drought defenses over here. Again, I think the transport efficiency program continues to make sense. The business and household carbon regs is popular and having good effect, so we are going to keep that over here. In Japan, yeah, The support has dropped so much because of the turbine tags and just general strikes, because they're actually very much displeased. On the other hand, tech is booming, and very nicely some of our defenses worked over here. So, but with this drop in support, we are now at 3 hearts. I'm going to drop the turbine tags over here and just continue to do things that are popular, because again, the emissions from Japan aren't really the most important thing in the world. So let's see what we can do that isn't directly affecting, that's not necessarily aimed at emissions specifically. I think draw defenses might be nice. Carbon and household wrecks would be okay, they're reasonably cheap. But on the other hand, improved storm defenses I think would also be helpful and just increase their stability over here, and that should be nice. Oceania, likewise support is going down a little bit. Wildfires, anti-drought effects working. Tech booming, they dislike the turbine tags. And more flooding. So wildfire or flooding, I think it makes sense again to build up defenses over here. Let's do the ones for flooding. Do you want to continue to deploy the turbine tags over here? I think we might take a break for one turn, build up a little bit of trust again, and hopefully that means that we can run it next turn. So maybe we're gonna switch over Europe and North America off from the turbine tags next turn, and Japan and Oceania are gonna get that again. So that takes care of the most important countries, but again our budget now really is pretty low, so yeah, we'll have to deal with that. Let's have a look at China. As you might remember, China is one of the most important countries to take care of, because their emissions are just so significant. Not necessarily in terms of compared to their population or their GDP, but they're just a very big country. So yeah, let's look at the news over here. Flash floods. On the other hand, advanced drilling has been researched. Eco campaign is in full flow. So the green outlook, or the outlook of them, is now from balanced to communal, and I don't think I want to go that much further. I think communal is fine. That does mean that they are somewhat positively inclined towards green measures that we do need to take, but it's not going to be very I don't want them to be completely hippies, because then again our economy is going to collapse, and that's not good either. The vegetarian revolution, so our propaganda efforts, if you want, to vegetarianism is taking place over here. So that means people are using a little bit more crops. Means the performance is lower, but the water use and energy use is a little bit down. So that's nice to see. I like to see that. Peace is reigning. That is also good. But there's a little bit of smog. Smog we don't need to deal with, but I do want to go over here to technology and acquire the smart grid. So you might remember the US has researched that, so we can now acquire it in other areas. It's costly at a 50 megabucks, but it leads to lower energy use in all sectors. Only 5%, but for China, 5% on China are pretty big, so that's definitely something that we do want to do. Also, it will increase the GDP in China, and I like to see that, because as you can see over here, China is, I think, actually contributing quite a bit to our budget. 160 bucks. That's more than North America even. That's the highest contribution of everyone, because their economy really is significant. So if I can make that even better, that's very nice. We might also want to have a look at how well this card is performing. So we are trying to decline their coal use in power. So let's have a look at the electricity grid. Coal is making up 49% of that. Is that going down though? Yeah, it looks like 3,000 terawatt hours from coal have been switched over to other things, mostly oil, which is not necessarily great because oil will be running out, and gas. But on the other hand, the good thing about this is that, you know, these things are emitting a lot less, so I think the power energy emissions should go down a little bit. Yeah, well, a little bit. Not that much. I mean, you can see the power use has increased in terms of terawatt hours, but the actual emissions have come down a bit. So that's good to see. I like that. I like to see that. So we dealt with the first world, we dealt with China. Let's have a look at India. Perpetual war with China. Yeah, so a lot of sickness due to toxicity of the energy things, water stress, people don't like us, but some defensive measures that are positive. So yeah, some things are good. Let's look at the social tab over here. Is it called social? No, society. I think we need to help them out a little bit. I think we have to do the educational enrollment. It's gonna give much increased literacy, which is important. I think we also should try to get their to give them enhanced water structure, because again the water stress level is pretty severe over here, and that's going to just lead to trouble. I think we should increase their drought defenses, and other than that I'm inclined to do a one-child policy in India. They really hate that, and they kind of hate us right now, but it would be so useful. It would be so useful if India is not exactly exploding every time. So the alternative would be again to also use less coal power over here. That would increase the healthcare and all of that, so that might be nice. But you know what, I think the one-child policy for now, it's a very severe measure. Just the social impact of that is incredibly high. But I think with these positive things it might balance that out. So we are going to try to do this. We do need to deal with the Middle East, because the Middle East is our primary source of energy right now. Most of the oil comes from here, a lot of the gas comes from here, and to a lower extent Russia, but it is important. So they are expecting more floods over here, more storms and floods. Tech is not that great, and there's some agricultural trouble. So first of all, we are going to increase the defenses against flooding then. Secondly, I think we would like to increase your education over here. I notice you're still very unstable, so I think we need to provide security assistance again, just to push that up a little bit. By the way, how did that look in India? Just unstable, not very unstable. So I think we can be happy about the Middle East then. I would like to do more, but just stabilizing them for now I think is a very important issue. Latin America. Oh, only good news. Deforestation slows. That's excellent news. Tech is advancing very slowly. That's not quite as good. Methadone vaccines for livestock, so a lot less emissions in agriculture at the cost of a little bit of GDP, but I'm willing to take that. And anti-drought efforts are going on nicely as well. They kind of like us here, so I'm pretty happy to see this. All in all, there's not that much that we do necessarily need to do here then. I mean, we could also always improve these defenses, and they wouldn't be too bad, I think, because initially that's a very important part of the game, just to adapt to climate change rather than necessarily try to stop it with technologies that just might not be ready yet. That being said, I think I would like this area to be a little bit more eco-aware. So switch out from the consumerist outlook to maybe something more sustainable, maybe more balanced. Not necessarily sort of green outlook, but I think at least a little bit better would do. Let's also look at Russia, our next energy supplier. Things aren't quite as good here. There's some flooding, some health crisis, storms and flooding. So that's not good. We definitely need better storm defenses over here then. And I think we do have some money, so I'm gonna buy another agent in Russia. And you know, there was a healthcare crisis, so we might want to do a medical welfare program over here. Region is unstable, but and they are angry, but I think the medical welfare program might help out in that a little bit. Right then, let's look at Africa. Again, Africa is not something that I'm particularly happy about, but we do need to deal with them at least a little bit. Anti-drought efforts are going on nicely. Grass management is leading to lower emissions in the agricultural segment. That's good to see. And GDP is actually going up So that's good to see. On the other hand, they dislike that we are caring about their forests. More water stress. They're ratifying the treaty, so I need to make a note of that. Of course the game doesn't. And tech is really bad over here. And storms. So storms and water stress are the most important issues here. So I think the water management program would be really nice. Yeah, look at the water stress, 59%. So yeah, definitely something that we do need to do. Water management. Also, they are very volatile over here, and they did just ratify the treaty, so we're going to get rid of this and provide some security assistance over here, because we just need to. Down here, very unstable, so I think very likely that we are going to provide security assistance, even though it's very costly. Deadly waiting list, so that's also sickness. Anti-drought efforts are working fairly nicely. How's your healthcare looking? Sick 28. Let's buy another card over here and let's try to help them out a little bit in that. Ooh, the job sharing might also be very nice, because it would lead to lower unemployment, and that is generally just a very good thing. Educational enrollment also very nice, and not that expensive actually, so we might actually think about that. Let's briefly look at North America and Europe again. 4 hearts. The Tobin tax really is taxing us in a way, so we really should think about getting rid of that. I'm inclined to getting rid of it in North America. The alternative would be to buy a couple more slots in... Oh, I don't think we've dealt with South Asia, so let's do this first. Grassland management, ratifying World Treaty, that's nice. And yeah, you don't like the forest thingy. I think a second agent over here is generally somewhat appropriate. How does your deforestation look like? So emissions come from forestry by a significant percentage. Yeah, and you really had a bad wildfire or something. I think we need to keep up the protect land and forest thingy for now. We didn't want a baby boom down here, but I think some eco-awareness might be nice. That does still leave us at quite a bit of funding. But I don't want to overdo it, because if we are buying more and more slots, we can't really sustainably afford them. So I'm gonna get rid of the Tobin tax in North America, and let's see what's affordable over here. Industrial carbon recs. Yeah, let's do that. I think that's a very nice thing to do over here. We can't do this here yet, can we? In China? No. It does require a certain degree of technology. So yeah, not possible in China right now, but it is possible in Europe, so that's very lovely. So with exactly 1 bug left, I think we can advance to the year 2035 and see how emissions are going on. So first off, world headlines. Ooh, did you see that come down? That's very good news. Of course the emissions are still going up, the global ones, and the temperature has actually increased to 1.5 degrees Celsius, which is not good, but the projections have come down a little bit, so that's nice to see. North America increasing emissions by 13%. We expected them to decrease emissions by 72%. No, I don't think so. Europe has decreased slightly. China has increased slightly, sort of where we expected them. Everything seems to be somewhat along the lines where we expected it to be. Yeah. See, Europe and North America saw no change in the way that they like us, so I think it was a very good choice to drop the Tobin tax in North America. Oceania actually has recovered slightly, they're liking us a little bit more, so does Japan. I like to see that. Russia is not quite as critical, but at least the areas that do provide funding to us are very important. Right. Speaking of that, let's go to North America, let's have a look at the news. Yes, our anti-drought efforts are coming into play. Meters get smart. Yeah, very nice. Efficiency drive in the industry, so That is very good. So you can see very much the pattern that we are dealing with here. So we are overall trying to mitigate the effects. We are providing more defenses against heat and droughts and such, while at the same time trying to be really on the saving side and pushing up our technology. Speaking of technology, we are doing infotech now in North America. I think we're doing robotics in Japan, biotech in Oceania. That does leave materials and energy actually unresearched. So you can see North America is actually pretty good at energy. And then again, so is Japan. 166 years, 170. So you know what, we might actually deploy more energy research in Japan and North America than maybe materials. Yeah. So let's go ahead. Let's conduct even more research, and just because I don't care. Okay. So advanced materials research program, 25 bucks, but now this is a research hub over here. You're trying to save on industrial energy use, on household energy use. You are investing into transport efficiency. What does that mean for our emissions? I think they should be coming down significantly. Yeah, forestry is still an issue though. Transport is going down, energy. That's all very nice. We'll have to think about buying another slot over here in a very short time. Europe. You dislike the Tobin tax. That's to be expected. Anti-drought efforts are going well. Smart meters, that's good to see. Strong tech advance, also very nice. Right, so I think we have to drop the Tobin tax in Europe for now, and maybe implement something else. There's no tech that we can buy. How do your emissions look like? They are coming down all in all, and transport is coming down in particular, so I'd like to see that. Energy usage is coming down, industry is coming down a little bit. Your energy does include a coal mix, but all in all it's pretty doable, I think. So we could think about improved defenses. That's definitely gonna be required at some point. But I'd like to take you a little bit away from your consumerist outlook. We're not going to do that in North America, and we're not going to do that in Middle East, specifically because that means we can't drill there quite as nicely, and these are regions where we definitely do need to drill, baby, drill. Industrial carbon regs might be very useful. On the other hand, I don't think Europe has ratified the forest treaty, so I think I would like to see that. Yeah, let's invest into that a little bit. Japan over here, I think. Oh yeah, some more drought, but anti-drought efforts have helped already, so that's very nice to see. I think that's why they're liking us a little bit more, and the wildfires have been stemmed in. Nevertheless, I think we're going to build improved drought defenses here again. And in terms of technology, I think we said that we wanted to do energy research over here. Now, next turn, carbon capture and storage is going to be researched anyway, but I want to also push all of these technologies. So I think it's still worthwhile to do an energy research program over here. Maybe we need to buy another card at some point. Oceania. You guys do like us a little bit more. Tech is booming, drought defenses do work, defensive measures work, so you know what? Let's tax you. If you do like us, we're gonna tax you. And I think on the other hand, what we can do for you is build up improved defenses. Especially flood defenses do make sense for me in Oceania, so that's, I think, nice. China then, the biggest polluter. Tax is on the rise, that's good. Flash floods, topsoil troubles, on the other hand peace and smart grids. Vegetarian program has worked, and wildfire. So you guys really are not that equipped to deal with all of these things, so I think buying both storm defenses and drought defenses right now might make our life a little bit easier. and I'd like to see that. How do you look in terms of, sorry, not tech tree, in terms of your emissions? Energy mostly and industry. And energy is still very heavily coal based. I think less so than before, right? Yeah, you're phasing out coal. It's good to see. Can we do in fact any of the nice projects, any of the reductions in... Yes! This is the second most important card for China, besides decline coal power, the industrial carbon rack. So reduce the emissions and energy use of the industry is hugely important. So we need to do this really. And I think that's going to be good. It does mean that the GDP of China is going to go down a little bit, and that is a problem, but it's just that we need to do this. Right. The Middle East, you're stable. That's very lovely to see. Nationalism is on the rise. That's not quite as good. But yeah, the defensive measures are working. The educational environment seems to be working. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about these things. Let's see whether we can do anything else. Again, we don't want to do eco-awareness over here. Don't think we need integration program. There are no refugees, rather. No, barely any. Yeah, so we might actually want to do some drought defenses over here just to be on the safe side, and maybe acquire advanced drilling or acquire smart grids. I mean, your energy usage is not that great, but the drilling really would be nice. So let's acquire drilling in the Middle East. Let's go to India. See all the bad things happening in India. So more droughts, water stress, nationalism on the rise. Some drought is being taken care of, but yeah, we do need to increase the defenses further. So yeah, let's improve the drought defenses. I think we want to keep up the one-child policy for at least a couple of turns, and that might be nice. Your materialist, I think it would make sense to also push you a little bit towards the balance side at least. And it's not that expensive, so I think it's a good thing. Oh, also you are very unstable. So yeah, the more important thing then is to provide security assistance. Russia, likewise, very unstable, so let's provide security assistance and see what's going on. Healthcare program is underway, lovely to see. Are you actually sick anymore? Not that much, 16% is not that incredible. You're recovering from a storm, so that's also nice to see. I think we might actually build improved storm defenses again. Eco-awareness is not the thing to do in Russia. Acquire smart grids, drilling, helpful. But then again, you know, just improved defenses I think are gonna increase our long-term sustainability. Although on the other hand, you have not protected your forestry yet. And I mean, forests in Russia are pretty massive, so let's do that. North Africa, too many refugees. You are fleeing or are you coming? Huh. Right, so there are people are fleeing from Northern Africa, and there are going to be more droughts and water stress, which is incredibly bad, and storms. So everything is bad, and you're volatile. So we actually need to provide security assistance, and we I think need to provide either storm or drought defenses or water infrastructure. Let's do the storm defenses for now. Southern Africa, yeah, only unstable, not incredibly unstable. Topsoil troubles though, and pretty bad sickness. So in terms of the sickness, I think what we want to do then is do the medical welfare program, and let's get you into the school enrollment because it's cheap and very helpful. You're angry, which I don't like to see. South Asia, You're hopefully fine. Yeah, deforestation is lowering. Eco campaign is doing things. Storms though. So I think we can get rid of the protect soils and protect ourselves against storms a little bit better down here. And that this leave us actually at a little bit of money, so with that in mind, we could potentially get one more card over here. Let's get one more card in Northern Africa, and let's enhance the water structure over here. It's going to be very expensive, but then again, you know, it's one of the most severe problems, so I think that's going to be alright. China, North America, Europe, you guys could all use more cards. Then again, Russia I think deserves a little bit more love. I mean, at very unstable, we I think should try to make life a little bit better for them. So let's get you some better defenses, I guess. Yeah, they're always useful. Oh, we can't afford that. Oh, we don't have any money. You know what, let's drop the protect soil. Let's get both of these improvements. We don't even have higher education enrollment. Alright, but with no money and all of our 38 agents placed, I think this is a very nice place to put in a cut. So thank you very much for watching, and see you again next time. Bye bye.